Okay. Call the meeting to order. And Nicole, if we may have a roll call. Present.
Vice Chair Fuller, Mr. Ashkenazi,
Here. Here.
Mr. Belomo,
Here.
Mr. Chamara,
Here. Yes.
Ms. Lippman,
Here.
Mr. Fuccielli, Mr. Yaneski,
Here.
Mr. Farmaker,
Okay. And also present Attorney Mark Lexstein,
Yes.
Board Planner James Higgins, Board Engineer Bennett, so used to calling you Ben, Matlack, and Colleen, Mayor Planning Administrator. We will stand for the salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, the notice requirements of the open public meeting law for this meeting have been satisfied. A copy of the notice having been sent to the Asbury Park Press and the Coaster and filed in the office of the Township Clerk. There is an emergency exit through the courtroom doors and 2 exits at the rear of the room. There will be no smoking. No new cases will be started after 9 o'clock p.m. and no new testimony taken after 9:30 p.m. In addition, the applicant will be limited to 45 minutes of testimony. All meetings will be video and audio taped and shown on the Township of Ocean's Community Cable Channel, Channel 22 on Verizon Fios, and Channel 77 on Cablevision. All cell phones must be turned off. If you need to make a call, please make your call outside of the meeting room. We have the following resolutions to be memorialized. From December, 3 Oakwood Avenue, Block 12.07, Lot 1, Oakhurst in the R5 zone, Salim 55 LLC. 318 Parkview Avenue, Block 140.10, Lot 11, Ocean in the R4 zone, Susan Padva and Jill Salvino. 1219 Alaire Avenue, Block 202, Lot 9, Ocean in the R4 zone, Jerry Garifine. And I will offer for December. Is there a second? For those, is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Nicole,
okay, so,
roll call.
Chairwoman Keel,
Yes.
Mr. Ashkenazi,
Yes.
Mr. Chamara,
Yes.
Mr. Fuccielli, and Mr. Farmaker.
Okay. The following memorializations are from January. 713 Asbury Avenue, Block 140.17, Lot 11, Ocean T1, Perry Nazone. 150 Ampere Avenue, Block 25.02, Lot 4, Oakhurst Zone R4, Iden Cheresh. 197 Delaware Avenue, Block 25.15, Lot 65, Oakhurst Zone R4, 197 Delaware LLC, and 1410 Woodlock Avenue, Block 120, Lot 6, Ocean Zone R6, Terry Santerre. And will someone offer? Who was here?
I'll offer.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Ashkenazi,
Yes.
Mr. Chamara,
Yes.
Mr. Belomo,
Yes.
Ms. Lippman,
Yes.
Mr. Fuccielli,
Not here.
Okay. The next resolution for memorialization, 491 South Edgemere Drive, Block 76, Lot 2, West Allenhurst in the R5 zone. This is a denial, Moser, and I will offer. Is there a second?
I'll second.
And again, it only can be the people who voted to deny the application.
Oh.
I have my Mr. Chamara,
Well, who can second it?
Yeah, who can second?
Chamara, Fuccielli, or
I offered.
He made the motion.
so just Mr.
I'll
Chamara?
second.
So, Mr. Chamara, are we gonna vote on?
A yes vote is
Yes
to
on the
accept the resolution, yeah.
Yes.
Keep going.
So it's just the three, Mr. Chamara,
Yes.
Mr. Fuccielli, and Chairwoman Keel.
Yes. Okay, the following cases are carried to March 20th, 2025, needing to renotice. IAAT Services, LLC, 1418 Highway 35, Oakhurst, 07755 in the Zone 0-140. IAAT Services, LLC, 922 Highway 35, Ocean, 07712 in the Zone C5. Our first case, Doug Osmowski, Block 32, Lot 6, 6 Phoenix Parkway, Oakhurst, 07755, Zone R4. The applicant seeks approval to construct a one-story addition towards the rear of the existing dwelling. Minimum both side yard setbacks required is 25 feet, where 22.7 feet is proposed. This site is an undersized 80-foot by 118-foot lot that is occupied by a one-story dwelling. The Zone R4 zone requires a minimum 90-foot lot width, 80 exists, and a minimum lot area of 10,000 square feet, 9,440 square feet exists. And Mr. Osmowski, if you can raise your right hand, do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth?
I do.
Okay. I will actually turn it over to Mr. Higgins and Mr. Matlack.
Well, let me just mark in the exhibits before you do that.
Yes.
Exhibit A1 is, I know Mark doesn't do it, but I like to mark it. Exhibit A1 is the variance application itself. Exhibit A2 is the survey of the property prepared by Morgan Engineering. Exhibit A3 is the sketch of the proposed addition. Exhibit A4 are the color photographs of the property. Exhibit A5 is the tax map of the Township of Ocean. And then we have the following board exhibits, which are, we'll start with Exhibit B1 as in Board 1. Board Planners Report dated January 7th, 2025. Exhibit B2 will be the Board Engineers Report dated 12/23/2024, revised 1/7/2025. Exhibit B3 is the engineering approval from the town engineer dated 12/04/2024. And then the final exhibit is Exhibit B4, which is the zoning officer's report dated 12/2/2024.
Okay, Mr. Higgins and then Mr. Matlack.
Okay, yeah, I'll summarize. Basically, it's an undersized lot. The lot area is under the area that it required. The lot width is supposed to be 90 feet. The lot width is 80 feet. They're proposing to have the setbacks on either side be greater than 10 feet, which is the minimum required by the ordinance for one side. So both sides do exceed the setback for one side, but when you combine the two side yard setbacks, they're about 2.5 feet less than what the 25 feet the ordinance requires. I don't really have a problem. I mean, if it were a conforming lot, their setbacks would be 32 feet, not 22 feet. So.
And that's literally the only variance.
Yes, that is the only variance. So.
Okay. Mr. Matlack?
And I don't have any engineering.
Okay. And Mr. Osmowski, I'm assuming this is a need that you have.
My wife is pregnant. It's a 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom house. We're just trying to make it a little bigger, put a second bathroom in there, due in July. So, yeah, just trying
Okay.
to get it
Thank-
going.
Thank you. Any questions from the board? Okay, are there any questions from the public? Okay, motion to close the public hearing.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, someone offer a resolution?
Positive resolution.
I'll second.
Okay, and I believe we need a roll call individually.
President Moore,
Yes.
Mr. Ashkenazi,
Yes.
Mr. DiGenaro,
Yes.
Mr. DeLoma,
Yes.
Mr. Chimura,
Yes.
Ms. Lippman,
Yes.
and Mr. Lewis.
Yes.
Okay. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Next case, Michael Seller and Vera Esses, Block 22, Lot 7, 324 Roosevelt Avenue, Oakhurst, 07755, Zone R4. The applicant proposes to remove an existing single-family dwelling and construct a new single-family dwelling with covered front and side porches and a covered rear terrace. They are also proposing an in-ground pool, a cabana with trellis, outdoor kitchen, outdoor shower, 4 air conditioning condensers, and 1 generator. It does not meet the required lot width. The ordinance requires a minimum lot width of 90 feet. The existing and proposed lot width is 80 feet. And same, I will turn it over to Mr. Higgins and Mr. Matlack.
Well, let me just, I'll
Oh.
do the exhibits, if you don't mind. Exhibit A1 will be the variance application. Exhibit A2 will be the site grading, soil erosion, and sediment control plan. Exhibit A3 will be the architectural plans. And then the board's exhibits will be, Exhibit B1 will be the board planners report, Exhibit B2 will be the board engineers report, and Exhibit B3 will be the zoning officer's report.
Okay, Mr. Higgins?
This is somewhat similar to the prior application, except that they're knocking down an existing house and building a whole new house. Once they knock the existing house down, the board has to look at it and the town has to look at it as if it's a vacant lot, and they're requesting to build a house on a vacant lot. The only variance they need is the lot width variance, or the lot width variance. The ordinance requires 90 feet, the lot width is 80 feet, that can't be corrected. Everything else fully conforms. So
Okay.
I have absolutely no problem with the application.
Mr. Matlack?
I have a couple of things in my review here. One is that they're taking the existing driveway out and they're putting in a new horseshoe driveway. So you're gonna have three, there's one existing curb cut and then there's gonna be two new. The curb and sidewalk associated with that takes up about more than 50% of the full frontage. So I recommend that the full length of the curb and sidewalk be replaced instead of trying to patch it and meet the existing, because I just don't think it's gonna look very good. The other thing is that there's a bathroom and a laundry room proposed in the basement. I recommend that the applicant verify the depth of the sanitary sewers in the road, show that on the plan so they can determine whether or not any type of ejector pump is required. And then any utility services, if they're gonna be new to the new house, should be shown, including the areas of trench repair and roadway restoration.
And that's all in your letter, right? Ben?
That's all in my letter.
Okay. So, Madam Chair, if you want to swear in the applicants, and then we'll just get the confirmation that those are okay with them.
Okay, Mr. Seller, if you can raise your right hand,
Sure.
do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth?
Yep.
And Ms. Esses, do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth? Okay.
All right, so I would just ask you, you just heard the request of the engineer. Is there anything about that you would not comply with?
No, and I think they're actually addressed, and our architect is here if they will answer any technical questions for you.
Yeah, I don't know that do we need that tonight, as long as they agree with you?
Yeah.
I think that's fine. I can't say it would hurt to hear from the architect.
It's up to you. If you feel like you need it, that's up to you.
Yeah, I think he came all this way, might as well let him talk.
Sir, if you don't mind going to that microphone, and if you can just state your name.
You want me to put the drawings up or no?
Yes. And are those different than what we have? Because we do have, oh, okay. Sorry about that.
So long story short, I don't have any issues complying with everything that's in that law.
And we do have them, so it's,
Okay. This is the engineering plan.
Well, it's just what we need to get you
Oh,
sworn
sorry.
in.
Yes.
I'm sorry, your name?
My name is Daniel Nolan.
Daniel Molden?
Nolan,
Oh,
N-O-L-A-N.
And have you testified before this board previously?
Once before this board, but several other in Monmouth County.
Okay, and just your brief credentials?
I've been.
You didn't actually swear him in, though.
I apologize. Brr, let's
could be lying
rewind.
right now.
Can you raise your right hand?
Yes.
Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, Daniel Nolan?
Yes, I did.
Okay, now if you can please tell us about your credentials.
Yes, I'm a licensed architect in New Jersey and New York since 2004.
Okay. And you said you have testified before us at least once? Okay.
Here is the site plans that we referenced. And this is the curb cuts we're talking about. The existing driveway that does not align with where we want the two curb cuts to line up to the new design. So I understand that his concern for the curbing needing to be replaced, and we have no problem with that. Our clients would rather it look nice in the end too. They don't want to have a hodgepodge of curbing out there. So the idea was to provide two new curb cuts and repair whatever necessary on the curb, and we can add that to the plan if we need to.
Okay.
And as far as the ejector pump, that is also not an issue, and we can confirm and add anything to the drawings that you need to prove it.
And
Are
that
there-
includes the utility that you mentioned, right?
Right.
Yeah, are there new utility services, or are you gonna use the existing?
I believe it should be new, because the existing house is on this side of the lot, and I believe a utility pole was already relocated possibly, and we're gonna be coming in on this side. There is some information here on the utilities. For the PVC pipe. Yeah, so the utilities are gonna be on this, in this corner.
Okay.
Okay, that,
I have no other,
Satisfied.
concerns.
okay, and the applicant said they will comply. Are there any questions from the board?
I just had a quick question. The generator has to be how far off the house? Isn't it like 10 or 15 feet by code? Does anybody know that? My only point is just be careful where you have your generator. It's up against the house, and if you push it off the house, you might be too close to the property line and require a variance. So just be careful with that.
I know it's not off the house, it's next to a window. I think it's 2 feet off the house. I put one in, so.
Yeah, it's, the generator location with respect to the house is a building code, issue, so that'll be reviewed by the building department when they go for construction permits. What the board has to consider is it's an accessory structure and it has to be a certain distance from the side property line.
That was my only point of bringing it up, is if it gets pushed off the house, just be careful of where you put it for setback requirements.
We don't have any windows at that point for ventilation concerns, so I don't think it should be an issue.
Okay, any other questions from the board? Questions from the public? If you can please go to the microphone and you can state your name and your address, please.
Sherry Rosen, 328 Roosevelt Avenue.
Rosen?
Yes.
And what's the address again? I'm sorry.
328 Roosevelt.
And I'm sorry, the first name?
Shari, S-H-A-R-I.
Do you want to swear her in?
Yes, and if you can raise your right hand, do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth?
Yes, I do.
Okay, and you have a question for the applicants or the professional?
Yes. My one question is, are you overbuilding for the property between the pool, the house, and the garage?
And you may have to just share the microphone, apologies.
I mean, I'll answer it, that they're not. Everything that they're doing conforms with the ordinance.
Okay.
They have no variances other than the pre-existing width of the property.
How come on the paper that got sent, and maybe I'm interpreting wrong, it said that this application can grant them any variances in the future?
So
Is there
basically,
gonna be another hearing then?
no. So basically when you send the notice out, you list the variance that you know you have. And then there's catch-all language, which everybody puts in case something comes up at the hearing where someone comes up, oh my God, you actually do have another variance, that they don't get rejected and have to leave and come back and re-notice it. It's just a catch-all phrase. It's not even needed tonight because there are no extra variances. So if the board grants the application tonight and they want to do something else in the future, they would have to come back and they'd re-notice. Because whatever you hear tonight is what they're granted tonight.
So, my concern is the water. The house between me and where they're proposing to build. They overbuilt for the lot, again, a house, a pool, and a bath. And there's major water problems. I don't know if you know, the water table, the basement takes flood. My basement floods, when we built it, we checked, we saw the water table was too high, we never put in a finished basement. And it's a big problem. And my concern was that that's what I'm asking about this, the other property between me and your building, they went and got a variance that was supposed to put in like wells or something from the town engineers. I don't know if that ever got done because the problem is really bad right now. My basement's flooding more, and the problem is then my neighbor keeps on calling the police and saying that I'm causing his flooding because I have to pump it out of my basement. And I just don't wanna make sure that this gets any worse.
So the board can't do anything about your other neighbor,
Oh, I know that.
because
I just want
we can
to
only
make
look at this
sure
application.
that when there's no place for not enough place for the water to go.
Yes, so
That's
what,
not making the water table worse.
one of the, so I had a few review letters, and one of my initial comments was to address stormwater management. I know their engineer's not here tonight, but I can tell you that there's a significant stormwater, underground drainage system that is proposed, to capture the increased amount of stormwater runoff, because they are creating more impervious surface. It's a bigger house, they have a patio, a pool, so there is going to be an increase in stormwater runoff, and to counteract that, they're installing a drainage system to capture that and infiltrate it into the ground, so it's not running off onto the neighboring properties.
But I do realize that it's the wetlands behind us.
Yes.
But that's what, my concern is, this is what I heard about when they did the property between us, okay? And they didn't take care of it, it's worse. And I just wanted, it's gonna be granted, I just wanted to go on record that, you know, when the police start calling me about my sump pump, that, you know, I want this on record, that I'm voicing there's a problem already, it got worse when they supposedly put their drainage system in. I don't want, when it gets worse, and the police are calling me all the time, I don't want to have to go through that, I want it to be on record, can you get this on record?
It's on record.
Mrs. Rosen, can I make a recommendation, please? Here, hello.
I'm sorry. Oh, okay.
Hi. So, after the hearing, maybe you can talk to Colleen here, and she can give you some guidance who to call and talk to regarding your current neighbor, where the runoff from their property is causing water problems on your property. The water runoff from their property is coming onto yours. And Colleen can guide you with a phone number and a name perhaps to call and address that issue. That seems to be the immediate issue for your property.
Yes, yes.
Okay, that's what I'm hearing. So she can offer you
This
guidance.
is, I don't know the terms, is runoff the same thing? Does runoff cause the water table to come higher?
It's the water runoff. The water coming onto your property, let's leave it at that.
So basically, if that, over here, if the property owner in between your two properties received an approval that required a stormwater management system, which is what you're saying, and they didn't install it, that's a code violation. So that's why she's recommending that you speak with Colleen here, and she'll put you in touch with the code enforcement to determine whether that is or is not the case. Okay?
And then same thing, after presumably their house is built, if you have problems and you feel like something wasn't done to what you see here tonight, then you would do the same thing.
But I am certain they're going to follow through and do everything they're supposed to and finish what they have told us they're going to do and comply with every piece of their application. Right? Right. See? No problem.
And the other thing that deals with the water too, is that it looks like all the trees were taken off the property. And the trees can be put back in, because those are important to absorb the water too. Because my neighbor took all the trees off his property also, just with shrubs. And there were lots of trees before, they absorb the water.
So do the shrubs.
Excuse me?
The shrubs should also.
Mr. Higgins, do you have any comments to that?
About the trees, Mr. Higgins?
There's a tree replacement ordinance that exists for the township. And if they remove trees without getting a tree removal permit, then they're in violation. And they would have to get a tree removal permit and demonstrate credibly what trees were removed, how many, and then either replant them or put money into the township shade tree fund.
Because I don't know when they bought the house, I don't know who had, I just noticed it last summer, that all of a sudden trees were gone.
Really, yeah, no. And so that could be a problem, but again, there are aerials and so on that people could tell how many trees are there, and if they didn't get, if whoever owned the property at the time didn't get a permit, then somebody would be obligated to make that contribution or to replace the trees.
Who would I talk to about?
Colleen will give you that information too.
Talk to Colleen offline.
Oh, thank you, I'm sorry to.
That's okay.
Don't
Not a
apologize. You're
problem.
doing what you're supposed to. Don't apologize. That's why we're here to help.
I have a quick question. Have you removed any trees off the property?
I had a utility pole moved.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions from the public? Okay, motion to close the public hearing.
Motion to close.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, and is there a positive resolution?
I'll move for a positive resolution with Mr. Matlack's
Caveats.
recommendations.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Nicole?
Chairman Moore,
Yes.
Mr. Ashkenaz,
Yes.
Mr. DeGenaro,
Yes.
Mr. Luomo,
Yes.
Mr. Chimura,
Yes.
Ms. Lippman,
Yes.
Mr. Lensky.
Yes.
Okay, best wishes.
Thank you so much.
Okay, the next case, First French-Speaking Baptist Church, 2795-2797 Asbury Avenue, Ocean R2. And the applicant is seeking a preliminary and final major site plan approval to construct an approximately 14,096 square foot house of worship. The use is a conditional use in the zone. The applicant is requesting a conditional use approval where several bulk variances are also required. And the attorney is Amanda Curley. And for the record, those who were not in attendance did either view or read the script from the last.
Yes, and Madam Chair, I'm just gonna, just to bring everybody back for recollection purposes, at the last meeting, the applicant had finished the presentation, and the only reason we didn't vote at the last meeting was because Mr. Gazarovski was present on behalf of some residents, indicated that he intended to put on an opposition case. I was advised today, I was contacting Mr. Gazarovski, who advised me he is not appearing tonight, and he is not here, so presumably that is not going to take place.
Okay, Ms. Curley.
All right, good evening. Good evening, Amanda Curley from Dave Pitney on behalf of the applicant, the First French-Speaking Baptist Church. We're on hearing number 5. For site plan approval to construct a house of worship, I want to note that 14,000 square feet is the building footprint. There's a basement too, so it's bigger than 14,000, but that is the building footprint, so to speak. And ancillary improvements, and the property is 2795 to 2797 Asbury Avenue, lots 71 and 72 in block 38, and it's in the R2 zone where this is a conditional use. We require a D3 variance for failure to meet the minimum lot depth. That's because of the existence of a paper street to the rear that's unimproved with no plan to be improved, so that's why we're before your board. We meet all the other conditional use standards. There are some other variances, some of which were triggered by revisions requested by this board, so I just want to quickly go through them. Minimum required parking, if you recall, we were here in January of 2024, and we had fully compliant parking at that time. The board asked us to sort of do a survey, figure out how much parking we actually needed so we could increase the buffer along Sharon Drive, which we did. So the variance is for 218 spaces where 254 are required, and that has allowed us to almost, I think, double the buffer with Sharon Drive and provide more landscaping. Also, the location of the driveway was moved at the direction of the board professionals. Your ordinance requires it to be in the center 1/3, and due to site distances, we've moved it out of that center 1/3, requiring relief. And then there's 2 other variances, one to exceed 2 feet in the grade changes in various locations due to the topography of the site. And then also our landscape plan was not prepared by a landscape architect, which requires a variance in your ordinance, so it's that variance. And then there's a design waiver for tree replacements. Despite putting ample trees on the property, we're still gonna be a couple short, so we're gonna work with your board planner, Mr. Higgins, on what trees we're gonna keep, where we're gonna plant trees, and how much of a contribution is required, if any. So the last meeting, we did close our presentation as indicated by Mr. Leckstein. Over the course of the hearings, we provided testimony of a licensed engineer, traffic engineer, architect, and a planner in support of our application. We went through the D3 proofs set forth in Coventry Square, and as noted, this is a very minor D3 because it's for minimum lot depth with respect to a paper street that's unimproved and will never be improved. And he also went through the C2 variance criteria, setting forth that this was an inherently beneficial use, and the testimony elicited indicated the application meets both the positive and negative criteria. We were here tonight for Objectors Council, which does not intend to present, so I'm just gonna do a closing and that's it. I have no professionals to testify. I also want to note, as requested by the board, we did meet with the county with respect to the driveway. If you recall, it was testified to that the county was requesting a right-in, right-out site driveway. As I learned today at our meeting with the county, they actually don't want that either. So we are going to have a full movement driveway, as I believe is in your plan set, because we never actually submitted the quote-unquote pork chop. So it will be a full movement driveway along Asbury Avenue, and I do apologize for the confusion. I myself was a little confused today, but per our meeting today, we plan to proceed with that full movement driveway and a left turn lane on Asbury Avenue. And we are going to work with the county and your professionals with respect to that. And I would ask, because we just don't know financially what that repercussion is going to be, that we condition the approval that in the event that we cannot do that, we'll come back to the board if you act favorably on this application. Just in the event that it becomes completely infeasible, which would be really at the discretion and determination of the county in this instance and your professionals, because we'll work with them, then we would just come back to you with a new proposal. And obviously, any proposal that we set forth has to comply with the county, who has the ultimate jurisdiction. I wanted to thank the board for their time and their patience with this application. I truly feel that we've worked together and put together the best plan possible. And I ask that you act favorably on this application, and I'm here to answer any questions.
Okay. Mr. Higgins, Mr. Matlack, anything
Just-
final?
Just to further explain, by having the left-hand turn lane in eliminates any concerns about cars passing the site going into Sharon Drive and disturbing that neighborhood. And it looks very favorable if that's gonna happen.
Okay, Mr. Matlack, any final?
Yeah, I would agree with what Jim said. It's definitely feasible, and I think it's the best design in the eyes of the county. So I agree with what Ms. Curley said.
Okay.
And the county has indicated they're gonna work favorably with the applicant to try and make it happen.
Okay.
And just for the members of the public, do you want me to they didn't hear, we're gonna put a left turn lane on Asbury Avenue so that cars don't pile up on Asbury, but we're gonna work on that.
There'll be a
The
time
county.
for it.
The
So
county.
Monmouth County, I was also at this meeting, Monmouth County feels it can work. That's what Monmouth County wants. And Monmouth County usually gets what, Monmouth County feels it can work. They had the plans there, they looked at them. I'm not an engineer, I have to, Monmouth County feels it can work. I mean, that's all I can tell you. Monmouth County, and they, yeah, but they're the professionals, it's a county road. We are subject to their jurisdiction, we can't even override it. And that's what they want, and that eliminates all the concerns about people turning onto Sharon Drive, because will there be any reason to turn onto Sharon Drive?
What about people that live across the
Again, it's a county road. It is what it is. I don't know what to tell you.
It's, and I live a half mile from that site. I've lived in this area for 50 years. It's not gonna have any effect at all on the streets across in that, on the neighborhood. The left-hand turn lane in is gonna take care of all of the concerns that arose from having that right in, right out turn.
Okay. Well, let's just
So-
first
so-
ask for
Yes.
questions from the board, and then we'll ask for members of the public to go to the microphone.
Yes.
So any questions from
I have
questions or comments from the board?
The turn that doesn't alleviate no parking on the side streets.
We're still not gonna park. We'll
Okay.
still agree to that condition. We don't wanna be parking on local roads.
All right.
That's what we were gonna ask. All those previous conditions that we had discussed and laid out, those are still part of,
I'm unsure if we need to put the sign, but if you want us to put it in the sign,
we do.
we will.
We want everything we had discussed previously, all those caveats, we want them included.
Noted. That's fine.
Thank you. Perfect.
Any other comments or questions from the board? Okay, comments or questions from the public? If you can please go to the microphone, state your name and your address.
And you'll swear them in.
Yes. And sorry, but I just want to make sure, Mr. Osmowski, your cases, are you just here or you? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to sit here.
If you're not here for this case, you are free. Okay. I just saw you sitting there and, okay, if you can state your name and, he was still here. Your name and your address.
Hi, my
please.
name is Tony Dunn. I live at 31 Sharon Drive in Ocean.
And I'm sorry, you said Tony.
Tony, Tonie Dunn, Dunn. 31 Sharon Drive.
31?
31 Sharon Drive.
Thank you.
And,
Yes, you're welcome.
if you can raise your right hand, do you affirm
sure.
to tell the truth, the whole truth?
Nothing but the truth.
Okay.
My concern with the county coming in and enlarging, or I guess widening. We live right at the corner of Sharon and Asbury Avenue, and there was a lovely pond, well, there is a lovely pond behind us. And as soon as we moved in, we wanted to dredge the pond, and the dilemma I have with the county is that they came in and knocked a tree halfway down and messed up my sprinklers of my next door neighbor, Jimmy, and then kind of left. So we had no dredging of the pond. So I'm just concerned about the county coming in and saying that they can widen the street. And if they can't, then they'll go away. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't have faith, let's put it that way. That's my first issue. The second issue, I know they talked about the pavement and the parking and the parking lot, and I'm no engineer, but the flooding is out of control on Asbury Avenue. I mean, just this week, you have to stop. There's a huge, it's right where where the church is going to be. I don't see how that's going to be alleviated with all the trees getting knocked down. And then the other thing, with this Route 66 being widened now, I think a lot of the cars are going to be detoured to Asbury Avenue. Is that going to be in conjunction with all the construction vehicles with the church? A lot of stuff's happening in our area, you know what I mean?
Okay.
I mean, the construction vehicles coming down Asbury Avenue, sounds like there's an earthquake. So I'm just envisioning that's going to happen with the church, which I know we can't help. I mean, because they're going to, erect this lovely church. I just think of all of these construction vehicles converging at once, so.
So, Mr. Lexing, I guess to address the point about the county, you were present.
I was present. The county was emphatic that this is what they want.
Yeah, they also told us that too. They were going to come dredge our pond and make it beautiful and
Well, listen,
have a
I mean, we don't know anything about that. All
No, I
I know is
know.
that at the end of the day, this application's got to go before the county.
Right.
The county's going to do what the county wants to do.
Mm-hmm.
We cannot tell the county what to do. We have no control over the county. They're the county. They're superior to us.
Mm-hmm.
So we only can go by, they looked at us in the face and said, this is what we want.
You're
We
going to have a
don't- we
left-hand
don't
turn
want-
lane.
Yes.
Okay.
We do not want what the applicant's been proposing. And they could not have been more clear on that statement to us.
Can I ask a question, Mark?
Okay.
Is there any recourse with the county for flooding on that road?
You can go to not through us.
Correct,
You-
not through you,
can go-
with
you
the
can go to
county.
You can go to a county meeting and talk to, I guess, the freeholders or talk to land use over there and tell them that you're experiencing flooding due to a county road, but that has nothing to do with us.
Have you ever taken pictures and to document it and done what he suggested?
Oh, you
and
mean of
brought
the
them?
flooding?
Of the, just.
Oh, yeah, because, well, we
flooding.
tried, we had the engineer come to our house with the pond, and that was just, it was ridiculous. But, no, I mean, I certainly can, and we all can.
Okay,
Just
that's what
this
I
past week, yeah,
recommend, just the
sure.
flooding itself, take pictures, document it,
Okay.
video it, do what you need to do. Go to a county meeting, take steps to rectify
Okay.
it.
But
Okay.
it goes to the county.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Okay,
and I also
okay.
add that this
No,
flooding
it doesn't,
issue-
but I'm just trying to help her solve a problem.
No, that's fine. I just didn't realize that was a county issue, the Asbury Avenue, but yeah, certainly. So all I have to do is take pictures and then do what? Send it to the county?
No, you have to go, you take the pictures, go to a county meeting and present it.
I would go to a freeholders meeting
That,
with your pictures. I mean, that's your government, your county.
Right.
Well, not freeholders anymore. They're
Commissioners.
commissioners, county, it's hard to get through my head, but go to a county commissioner meeting in Freehold or wherever they hold them and tell them who you are and present it. It's like going to a council meeting, except they're
it
commissioners.
should be monthly and they're online.
Yes.
And you can look it up, find out when they are. They're
Okay, no,
very
I just
nice. The
assumed everyone
commissioners
kind
are
of
very
knew
nice.
that, but I guess not. Okay.
I'll also add that this issue came up at a prior meeting, that there was ponding water sitting right at the proposed entrance to the site. And there is a significant stormwater management plan that will address drainage on the site, and there's also a drainage inlet right at the entrance to the site to collect water that is currently sitting on the road to get it into the system. So it, you know, based on the plan, it should be a significant improvement to what's there now.
Okay, so that could help address the problem in one particular area, but if it goes beyond what they're referring to in other areas, then you have recourse for those areas.
Part of this plan.
The county has to approve this.
Yeah, the county has to
Application.
approve anything that they do. They have to go to the county planning board, just like they have to go to the ocean zoning board. But the county has reviewed that portion of it, and I think it sounds like the last thing is addressing the left-hand turn lane.
Okay. And if you can state your name and your address?
Michelle McKeon,
I
M-C-K-E-O-N.
Just want to ask her.
And you can't, and I know you
And
can't.
Daniel
get-
right, I
from
just-
Adjacent property.
Yes.
Just follow-up questions. I know last meeting, I think it was, we talked about the fence, and you had said to ask back, and I promised that I'd remember. About a solid fence?
We will put in a, I think we said we'd do it. We said at the last meeting, we'd do it.
Yeah, okay. And then, I think.
But I don't know if it's gonna be the entire thing, but
we had talked, like.
about where your property is.
Like
Yeah.
on the Sharon Drive side,
Mhm.
where it was just a much closer to the parking lots, just by design?
All right, so just so I get it, it's just, you're gonna install, and you probably did, I do remember you saying to tell her to come back and
Okay.
and ask again, so you could confirm it. I think what you said is that you were pretty sure you could do it, but you need to check with your clients. So there's gonna be a solid fence along the Sharon Drive? Or is that what you're saying? I just wanna make sure I have it right.
I don't think it needs to be the entire length of it. My engineer is not here, so
You have an approximate, halfway,
yeah, like,
three-quarters?
yeah, how many feet from Asbury would you guesstimate?
I mean, I would say, behind, like, the side of the
We'll
property
just do a
that's
solid, we'll do a
adjacent
solid
to
vinyl fence.
2717 Asbury, 3 Sharon,
do like a
5 Sharon,
Along
7
the
Sharon,
length
and
of
9
your border
Sharon.
with Sharon
Yeah,
Drive?
we'll just do a
Okay.
solid vinyl fence.
Okay,
Is that
solid.
permitted? Great. Solid vinyl fence.
Because the other sides have the, I don't know, I guess it's called the paper
Now,
street
is it
now,
gonna
it's called the
extend,
town
how
fence.
far is it gonna extend towards Asbury Avenue?
Whatever's on the plan now, just
It was
now
to
it's
the
gonna be
front of
solid.
or the rear, whatever you'd call it.
We're not
It
gonna
was-
extend
Michelle's
it.
gonna extend totally along your property
No.
line? No, oh,
No,
okay.
because they would need variance to do
Okay,
that, so it
yeah,
only goes to
okay,
the front.
Okay.
And then the other question was, I think it was 2 meetings prior or 3 meetings, and I don't know. And I know the traffic engineer's not here. But at the end of that one, I had asked if his, traffic analysis was based on the crash data from both Ocean and Neptune, and he said it was only from Ocean, but
Correct.
that it would be redone, or he'd get the Neptune crash data from the same period of time. Do you know if that was ever done?
That was not, as a condition of approval, we can submit that information.
Would that affect the entire traffic study that was
No.
presented here?
No.
If like the number of crashes was double, it wouldn't have?
I mean, I don't know why we would make you do it after the application as a condition of approval, because it won't change anything.
Yeah.
It would be like form over substance at
There-
that point.
There's,
I'm not a traffic officer, so I'm not gonna say what
Right.
he'd say, it's just if I didn't know, and if he was gonna say that it wouldn't have affected it either way, then that's fine.
and ultimately, it's not the township's jurisdiction, because it's not a township road.
No, I just thought, cause it would affect the traffic study as to, cause one of the things he had testified to was that there was no pattern as to whether the bulk of the crash reports were, you know, the accidents were caused by left turn or right turn or rear end, cause that's the data in a crash report. And he said there was no visible pattern, but he was going off of 9 crash reports, and if there were also 9 crashes on the Neptune side, there may have then been a pattern.
Ironically, when we were at this county, I know the county's not here and we can't see it, they were showing us
Yeah.
their study today, and, for what it's worth, I don't remember what the numbers were, but they were showing us their figures to demonstrate the fact why they were insistent upon this left-hand turn.
So they, like the county had numbers and stuff.
Absolutely,
today, and they
yes.
weren't just going off of this one?
They weren't using their study.
Yeah,
They
they're
had their
not
own
using our
figures.
study, they were
Okay.
using their own.
I mean, okay, and then I just thought of a third thing that was a follow-up, and now I don't think
I did notice Neptune and Ocean, and the utilities and the clerk.
I
I,
know. No, it wasn't, that. It was something that was just said,
Within
and now I don't
200 feet,
remember.
my notice package was presented to the board attorney.
Not me,
It's been reviewed.
but I'm sure it's fine.
No, I don't remember. The third thing that I just thought of, that was just the two, and
Okay. Any other questions or comments from the public? If you can go to the microphone, state your name and your address.
Nick Lord, I-13 Sharon Drive,
Just spell your last name
Lordi,
and your address again, I'm sorry?
13 Sharon Drive.
13 Sharon Drive, all right, go ahead.
And thank you for addressing many of our concerns. We really appreciate it. I just want to ask one question with respect to the lighting plan. Last time we met, you said you would abide by whatever the requirements are for lighting. My question, though, has to deal with the changes between the revisions. In the earlier revision, in the earlier lighting plans.
So, Mr. Lord, I'm just gonna tell you, she's just an attorney.
Yes.
She's not the lighting expert.
This is really a question for the board with respect to reviewing the lighting plan.
Okay,
So in the earlier lighting plans, the lights were 6145 lumens. In the most recent revision, it was upgraded 50% to over 9600 lumens. The height of the light was increased from 12 to 16 feet. And there are more lights in place. So my question really for the board is, with the most recent revision for the lighting plan, is that being reviewed with respect to what the ordinance are within the township, which seems to restrict the amount of lumens that are being put out?
Yes, it is being reviewed.
Okay, so,
And one of the conditions of approval is a new lighting plan, so that will be reviewed again against the ordinance.
okay, thank you.
thank you.
Any other questions or comments from the public? And if you can state your name and your address.
I'm Joe Torsha, and it's 2801 Asbury Ave.
2801,
Yeah.
and Torchia, Torchia?
Yes.
Okay, 2801, Asbury Ave. Go ahead.
So since I'm directly west of the church lot, my question is the left turn lane, like how, will that extend beyond the church property, or like, so our car's gonna be able to kind of, like, how long is that lane gonna be?
We don't know that yet. The applicant's engineer has yet to put that plan together, but they're gonna do that and submit it to the county, and the county has the full jurisdiction to review that and approve it.
Okay, do you know if that lane is allowed to, if they're allowed to make that lane like come past the property line, so that the left turn lane is also gonna be in front of my property?
It could be. It depends on the amount of traffic the traffic engineer's design for it.
Okay, yeah, I'm just concerned if we try to pull out of the driveway and it's just like solid traffic. Okay, that's it.
Okay. Any other questions or comments from the public? Mm-hmm.
Just state your name again.
Michelle McKeon.
Thank you.
Again. I know several meetings ago, I'd asked about a sign at the street, and it was like there wasn't gonna be a sign at the street, but then at the last meeting, I know the sign, affixed to the building was removed. Did that change whether there's gonna be a signage at the street?
Any signage we have will be fully compliant with the ordinance.
So now there might be a sign at the street.
There might be a monument sign, but whatever signage we propose will fully comply with the ordinance, not requiring relief or approval by the board.
Okay.
Any other comments or questions from the public? You can go to the microphone. And if you can state your name and your address.
Darlene Sandlin, 11 Sharon Drive. And I don't know if this question can be answered because the engineer isn't here, but my question has to do really more with the board about the drainage plan, because the research that I've done, the permeable asphalt is prone to fail if it is not maintained properly, so I wasn't sure if there was a maintenance plan in place for the.
There's always a maintenance plan that has to get recorded with the county.
Okay.
In every application where you have stormwater, NJDEP requires that it will be recorded with the O&M manual with the clerk of the county.
And was the reason why it was changed from retention ponds to the permeable asphalt, was that just because of the public questioning the safety of the pond?
Correct.
Okay.
Any other questions from the public? Okay,
Steve Resman, 8 Sharon Drive,
And just spell your last name, sir?
R-E-S-M-A-N.
And you said 8?
8, yes.
Go ahead.
I'm not a good public speaker, so you're gonna have to
You're
bear
fine.
with me. Is this a rateable going into the coffers?
That's irrelevant to this hearing.
It's irrelevant.
It's irrelevant. The board can't even consider that.
I'm talking about a quality of life issue. I think it's gonna be very loud.
So let me stop you. So, it's a permitted use in the zone.
Okay. Well,
So-
it's a comment. It's a comment.
It's a comment, but the board can't deny the board could say, we don't like churches, we don't want churches here because it's a quality of life issue. I'm not saying they're saying that, because they're not saying that. But the board could say that. They can't consider that, because it's permitted use in the zone. The town council has decided that this is a proper location for a church. So the fact that you consider it a quality of life issue, every single board member might consider it a quality of life issue, they could not vote no based upon it being a quality of life issue.
Property values?
Irrelevant. Again, the town council has said that this is a permitted use for that property. The board cannot deny the application based upon any of these things that you're talking about. It's permitted in the zone.
All right, well.
The board has to follow the law and follow the ordinances.
Any other questions from the public? Okay, oh, you just have to go to the microphone.
This is just in response to your comment, and I understand what you're saying totally. My question is, I tried to look up online to see if there's any, I don't know, rule of thumb or whatever, rules for the size of a project on a piece of property when it pertains to a church, and I couldn't find anything. And I think most of us, from what I hear, are concerned, not that it's a church, you know, nothing having to do with that. It's the size of the project. And I wasn't sure if the size of the project is governed in any way.
It is.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'll let
Yeah,
you handle
the ordinance has standards in it for the size of a church project. And what's the size of this property?
14,096 square feet.
That's the building
The
footprint.
size of the property significantly exceeds what the ordinance requires.
It's over 2 acres.
Including the parking
I
lot.
think it's
and-
over 2 acres.
They don't have any variances for any of
Okay.
that.
Yeah,
I just- I
4.96
wasn't
acres and 2
No,
acres.
it's a legitimate question.
2
Of course
acres is
it is.
required.
Yeah.
2 acres is required. It's 4.96 acres, so it's 2.5 times bigger than what the
Okay.
ordinance requires.
Yeah, every single, just so
Yeah.
you know, every single application, that is what you're talking about is an issue.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, they don't have any variances, and it's not because it's a church, they don't have any variances for this piece of property.
Yeah, I was only looking
Yeah.
at church.
Right.
Yeah, typically bulk is regulated by FAR or impervious coverage or building coverage. Those are all different avenues that boards and townships can use to regulate the size and bulk. And here we comply with the size and bulk as indicated in the ordinance.
Okay, any other questions from the public? Okay, oh. If you can just state your name again.
Tony Dunn, 31 Sharon Drive. I just wanted to echo what Steve had said. I think, again, it's not the church, it's just our quality of life. And I know you can't do anything about it, you know, it's all approved and all that, but you have to understand our neighborhood. It's a great neighborhood, it's very quiet, and everybody knows each other, we walk our dogs. And I think what we're seeing is what's going to happen, is that it's not going to be like that any longer, just because the bridge of the traffic and the lighting and the sound, it's just, so that's why I think we're all here. just letting you guys know that our quality of life is really going downhill.
Understood, and this is not a quality of life board.
No, I know, I know.
And so the board's got to, the town council enacts ordinances that decides what is permitted in the zone or not
I get
permitted
it.
in the zone. And we're bound by that.
No, I know, we all moved in though, knowing there was like this little woodsy area, you know, if we had, maybe I wouldn't have moved if the church was there. That's the whole thing. It's not like we moved in and the church was there. They came into our,
Understood.
so that's our concern.
And the only reason I say what I say, because I have to protect, as the attorney, I have to protect the record.
Of
So whenever,
course.
so I'm not trying to be rude to anybody, but whenever anyone comes up and makes that type of statement, I then have to make sure I put on the
course.
record that the board cannot consider quality of life issues in this
Right.
type of application.
Of course, and that's, I just wanted to let you know, that's why I think most of us
Understood.
are here. That's really it. I
Mrs.
just-
Dunn, I also think we're trying our, here, Mrs. Dunn.
Where are you? Oh, I'm sorry.
I also think the board is trying our best to hear everyone's concerns and strike a balance between inevitable progress and change that's going to happen and hear your concerns.
Oh, you've done a great job of that, I have to say.
I think we
You have.
are.
Yeah,
but-
definitely.
But change and progress is going to happen, and I think people are just afraid of it and fearful. And we're just trying, like I said, we're trying to do our best to strike a balance between that.
No, I get that.
And,
I think
and I'll say this also, you know, this applicant, in all fairness to the applicant, they've worked with this board to fix this application and make it better. Up to the point of having a meeting today with the county, which most applicants don't do. And they didn't have to go to the county again with us. And that was because of all the residents coming out, complaining about Sharon Drive
Of
and it
course.
being used. And the applicant did that. So this is what this board's here for.
Right, well, that was the
And
right
we-
thing
and we
to
hear-
do,
and we-
correct.
And we hear and not all applicants work with the board. This applicant's worked a lot with this board and has completely resigned his plans, creating new variances, specifically because the board's requested them to do, but they didn't have
Right.
to do.
Okay.
So they've gone above and beyond
No,
in a
you
lot
guys
of
have
those
done,
ways.
no, it's been great. I
But
just
it's not
wanted.
us too. I think that's indicative of the kind of people that are in the church and that
Okay.
are coming in, which your neighborhood should perhaps look at that. And I know you're concerned about the church moving in, but I think how hard they've worked to please all of you is indicative of the people in the church.
No, I think that's one,
And-
no, yeah, I agree with you. It's just, you know, with real estate and so forth, my concern is down the road when we want to sell our house, not sure how that's gonna look. But, you know,
Okay.
but you guys have all worked very well.
And I'll again, just protecting the record, the board cannot consider real estate values in this
I
application.
understand that.
I'm not correcting you.
No, and
I'm
I
just
understand.
setting
I'm
the
just telling you
record.
where we're coming from as
Ma'am,
homeowners.
Miss Dunn, I
you know.
understand.
Okay.
Like I said, I just have to say that
Of
when someone
course.
makes a statement that the board cannot decide
And
upon.
maybe it'll increase our values, who knows? We don't know. So I just wanted to, but you guys have been great. I don't want to sound like I'm not thankful, but you've been very good, really.
Thank you.
100% this is the last time anybody has to hear from me, I promise.
We're gonna hold you to that.
This is the actual question I forgot the first time. Just because I know you had said you still want the signs and stuff on Sharon Drive, which I'm not gonna lie, that part doesn't affect me, because I don't on Sharon Drive. But, there's technically, I think one of the ones that was talked about was like a no U-turn sign, and I just wanted to make sure we remembered to.
That's all in there.
But just to also remember, because it's not that, a no U-turn sign there is not covered by New Jersey state law unless it's in the ordinance, because it's an allowable U-turn zone by state law.
Right, the condition was that
So
they
that,
have to.
was it no U-turn, and was it just that?
It was no through street, and they have a transcript. So we have a transcript of every time you came up here and talked
know.
and all the requests, and they have the transcript. So when they draft, when Mr. Lexstein drafts the resolution, he's gonna
And then
take
they
it.
automatically go to council to get added into ordinance,
They-
the ones that
they-
are requested?
What they have to do is they have to submit a plan to the township engineer to get approved, and then he has to, make a recommendation to the council to draft an ordinance to put that in place.
There was no through street in the ordinance.
I think it was no through street.
No
Through street's a
through street
courtesy
or
sign,
no
and we can,
U-turn.
that's an,
Whatever it is, is what
No,
it will be.
mine was
And this
recorded
board,
every time.
just to be very, very clear, this board does not have enforcement powers.
I know.
And we cannot force the town to enforce anything.
No, I know. I was more
So-
concerned for the neighbors that do live on Sharon Drive, that then it happens, and then if they call the police, and then the police come out and they go, oh man, we actually never added this to the ordinance, so we can't issue this ticket.
Right.
That was more my concern.
I understand.
Because then it's not enforceable.
And the town will obviously be advised, because it's in the resolution.
Okay,
so.
that was more my thing, that there's like an automatic
And then what they
trigger.
do with it is what they do with it.
I know, and I will again say thank you all, and really, truly thank you.
Okay, any other questions from the public? Questions or comments? Okay, a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion to close.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. And is there a resolution?
I'll make a resolution for a positive outcome of all the stipulations, that were discussed in the meeting, with the, attorney and the, engineers.
I'll second.
Okay.
Chairwoman Abdul?
Yes.
Mr. Ashkenazi?
Yes.
Mr. DeGenaro?
Yes.
Mr. Valona?
Yes.
Mr. Chimura?
Yes.
Ms. Lippert?
Yes.
And Mr. Lewis?
Yes.
Okay,
I very much appreciate everyone's efforts. Thank you so much.
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we have one final order of business. Resolution to appoint legal counsel to defend suit on behalf of the Zoning Board of Adjustment, docket number MONL 00432324. And I will offer, is there a second?
Second.
Can we,
Think
roll-
about all in favor.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, and motion to adjourn, any objections?
Nope.
Thank you.
This is done?